welcome to a new Team CGC 9.8 video. And before I get going on my unbox here, I gotta say a really special thanks to all my subscribers out there. Because about yesterday, kind of in the middle of the day, we reached 100 subscribers. And I think now it's kind of at about 103, I believe. So gotta say a real special thanks to everyone out there for supporting the channel, for subscribing, for commenting, leaving me some feedback to make the channel better. And you know, we're just over a month here, so to kind of get 100 subscribers in the first month was a bit of a goal of mine, and you know, it happened. I'm so happy that it did, and it's a great start, I think. And yeah, and I think at this early stage, it's kind of, you know, where I'm sort of making these videos as like some prototype videos and throwing ideas out there. So I really like getting feedback from you guys on how I can make it better, and I'm always kind of taking notes after some videos to try to make them better too. So we're over 100 subs, and that's all thanks to you guys, so thank you so much. And I probably won't do like a contest or anything right now. I think, you know, hopefully I do have sort of bigger goals in mind with the channel, and I think, again, sort of at like a prototype stage of the channel, in my opinion. So, you know, maybe we'll do something for like 500 subs or 1,000 subs, which I think are kind of harder goals to accomplish. And, you know, right now I think, you know, my present to you will just be to keep working hard and creating content, you know, 5 or 6 days out of the week. And, but, yeah, thank you, very heartfelt thank you for subscribing and supporting the channel. But getting into another unbox today. So always an exciting video when I can unbox comics, so let's get right to it. This comic is kind of cool because it's a bit of, I would say, certainly affordable compared to some of the other comics I've been getting lately that have sort of been at around that 400 level mark, I would say. This one being $169. Basically. What was it? $167.50 to be exact was how much I paid for this, and that's an American price. And yeah, for this issue, I think that is a decent deal. I'm sure it was a best offer accepted, so it wasn't a 1-week fire sale auction. Guy had it up for sale. I made a best offer. He counter offered. I made another offer, and then he accepted that one. And so what I will tell you is, before I get it, this issue is a Carnage issue, and I did see it sell for a lot more last year when the movie sort of hyped with Venom and Carnage. It was a Venom movie with the Carnage cameo at the end of the movie, but those Carnage issues during that time were pretty hot as well. And you know, getting this for, what was it, $167.50, I saw them go for about $200 last year a couple times, because yeah, I was sort of keeping an eye on it last year, kind of wanting to buy this issue, but it never materialized. So, another thing too about this one is, it's from a seller I never purchased from. So I'm kind of, you know, who knows, a bit of a wild card here, and like maybe it might not be the best CGC 9.8 in the world or whatever, so let's see how it goes. So no bubble wrap in this one, I don't think, anyway. Yeah, and this is an issue that's really nostalgic for me, sort of a late 90s Carnage Spider-Man issue that I've always really loved, and I've always wanted to add it to my collection, but it's not really like a crazy key issue or anything like that, so just would kind of be impatient. And this package did come from the US as well. Me being in Canada, a lot of times I try to buy these packages in Canada, but the shipping deal was reasonable. And the seller lives in Michigan, which is the state right across from me in the United States. So he was able to go to Sarnia, which is in Canada, and then ship it through Canada Post. So I knew there wasn't going to be any like extra fees over the border or tariffs or anything like that. So kind of worked out almost like buying from a Canadian seller. Okay, I think we got it out here. Just a little bubble wrap around it. That's all right. I'll take it out of the package too. Ooh, I think it's looking okay. Alright, so the new comic I bought is an Amazing Spider-Man number 431. And, you know, you got the Carnage and Silver Surfer appearance. First Cosmic Carnage, I guess, is a lot of the kind of first appearance of this issue, even though there's not like an official first appearance. And I can understand that. You know, it's basically just Carnage took over the Silver Surfer, which is, I think, it was a really awesome concept. Really awesome cover, super cool. I remember when this first came out in, you know, being a 1998 book. You know, at that time, personally, I was sort of getting out of collecting comics at that time. And, you know, at that time, playing guitar and music was getting to be a bigger part of my life. You know, I was only being, you know, what would have been like, you know, 16, 15 at this time when this first came out. But I do remember it just catching my eye, and I'm saying, you know, wow, that's an awesome cover. And, you know, if I was totally into comics, I would still try to like hunt that down. So yeah, this cover was always a cover that stuck out to me when it first came out, and I've always wanted to add it to my collection. So yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 431, this one is. Let's just take a look at it and check it out. Yeah, it's really nice and crisp and flawless. Yeah, spine, flawless. I even like it too. A lot of with these newer books, sometimes you get a fraying on the spine. So you're not really spine ticks, but there's just like a white fray. And this one, it does not really have it though, which is nice. Yeah, super flat. Yeah, and I guess this one's a little bit more important for me to really check it out too, because this being a seller that I don't normally buy from. At this point in my collecting, I almost buy from like 2 or 3 sellers in Canada, and there's one seller that's in the United States but ships from Canada. And they're really, they have a lot of sales, they do a lot of sales all the time, they send a lot of books to CGC to get graded all the time, so there's a lot of like brand new, right from CGC graded books with these sellers. And yeah, the more I sort of hear about some CGC fraud and everything, I think it's pretty important to purchase you know, CGC books from reputable sellers that have really good feedback, that have a lot of feedback, that are putting up new CGC books every month pretty much for auction because they're giving so many books to CGC. Whereas, you know, a lot of times you could see, you know, maybe it's a really good price and everything, but it's from a seller that's not as reputable, and maybe they only have a couple hundred you know, feedback scores on eBay or whatever it might be. There's just not that super long history of really good feedback. Because yeah, I mean, and just, you know, more specifically yesterday, a friend had told me that he had to complain and get his money back because his Batman 404 9.8 that he bought for like a really good price could possibly be a fraud. And I mean, he's almost 100% sure just based on the shape of the comic, and the guy was really defensive and gave him his money back right away. So yeah, CGC fraud is sort of, you know, becoming something more that I'm thinking about. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, just be careful, stick to those really popular sellers, because, you know, they're the ones that have been in business for a really long time. They're sending books to CGC all the time, and, you know, there's new books being sold on their sites. Those are the kind of sellers that I would, you know, stick to more so. You know, if there's a lesser feedback score type seller, just message them and kind of get a feel for kind of their responsibility level, I would say. When they're messaging, you know, if they message you back quick, and maybe they have some other issues on their site too that look really good or whatever it might be. Yeah, so just be careful out there as far as, you know, buying CGC books, and because yeah, and maybe we'll do another video on this, just talking about fraud and counterfeit and how you can best protect yourself. But yeah, from this being a seller that I don't normally buy from, I was, you know, thinking you never know what to expect, right? But this really does look really good. Super centered, super flat, spine is flawless. Yeah, I think definitely a solid 9.8. Check the case, see if, yeah, pretty much the case is perfect too. I'm not seeing any scuff marks. No Newton rings on this one too, so that's always a bonus. No Newton rings on the back either. So yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 431. Out of the late 90s Amazing Spider-Man comics, this is the one I would recommend to get. Out of like the Overstreet price guide for sort of this generation, sort of late 90s, This is kind of the key pick out of that range. And you know, if you're a Carnage fan, you got Amazing Spider-Man 431. There's the issue before this is a pretty cool issue too, Amazing Spider-Man 430, where Carnage is taking on Spider-Man and Silver Surfer. In this issue, obviously, you got the cool color, and he actually takes over Silver Surfer and becomes Cosmic Carnage. But the other issue in this range that, if you're a Carnage fan, you might be really interested in is Amazing Spider-Man number 410. And that's a little bit cheaper than this issue. And we'll get into prices really quick in a bit for both of them. But Amazing Spider-Man 410 and Amazing Spider-Man 431 are sort of the pick of the mid to late 90s Amazing Spider-Man comics, for me anyway, being a really big, you know, symbiote and Carnage and Venom fan. So just looking at the census on Amazing Spider-Man 431, not the best looking book on the census, but kind of come to expect with a really cool Carnage cover right from the beginning, and you know, being that it's a modern book, they're probably in really good shape. So it's a 45.5% of all graded Amazing Spider-Man 431s are CGC 9.8s, so almost half of them are CGC 9.8s. So not a very favorable ratio when you're kind of thinking about it from an investment point. It's not very rare. There's 158 of these in the 9.8, so that's not too bad. And you know, getting into the late 90s, early 2000s, comic printing started to really go down. This is sort of the beginning of the comic book recession, I would say. You know, this book being made early 1998. I would say, you know, 96, 97, 98 is when I think the comic book industry really slipped into a recession, basically. So printings started to come down during this time. 158 of these, one of 158, not too bad. And yeah, this one got pretty lucky, being that you know, sometimes when it's only like $150 book, I'm willing to take some chances on a buyer that you know, I maybe haven't bought from before. But I know, like, if you have watched my last unboxing video where my order was about $650, that seller is CGCing things like every week almost, and they have, you know, I think 30,000 or more orders done on eBay and perfect feedback in the last, you know, year. So those are kind of the sellers I would recommend to buy most of your books from, to be honest. So 431, really great one. Talking prices here, I paid $167.50 for this, and that's US dollars. And again, yeah, last year I seen a lot of these being asked $200, $210, you know, $219.99, and a few of them sold at that as well. So, and that was certainly during the Venom movie. So prices have come down a little bit for this, which you would expect. Just, you know, a couple are going to sell around that Venom hype for a little bit more and then come down again. And this, I mean, if you're interested, because I'm not really interested in flipping books or anything, but, you know, purchasing a few of these now, and then when Venom 2 comes out with the prominent Carnage appearance in that movie, I think, you know, purchasing this for under, if you can get one, you know, $167.50 I think is a fair price for me. If you can get one for under $150 right now, or a few of them maybe, and then, you know, think about around the movie selling them for maybe $220, $230, you know, maybe $70, $80 more than what you paid for them each. I think that could possibly work with some of these under the radar Carnage keys, but they're still really popular. And, you know, even Amazing Spider-Man 410, The Web of Carnage Part 2, the other one that I kind of recommend in the same ilk as this issue, is really popular. It sells quite well. Usually when I see one for like that $100 to $110, it sells quite fast. Really popular on weekly auctions as well, that Amazing Spider-Man 410. I would say it's probably even more popular than this book. This book being a little bit more expensive, it's a little bit higher priced in the Overstreet guide as well. But I find popularity-wise, for some reason, Amazing Spider-Man 410 might be a little more popular. And that's with like Carnage, you know, kind of the Scarlet Spider Carnage on the front of Amazing Spider-Man 410. So that's got a really cool cover too. But yeah, super happy to have Amazing Spider-Man 431. And yeah, 410, you're looking around that $100 mark, 110. This one being $167.50 is what I paid for it. Maybe get it for under $150 if you get a really good deal. But yeah, really happy with how in good shape this comic is, especially being from a seller that I do not normally buy from. So I think I lucked out. Okay, so glad to have you with this unboxing video. I love these unboxing videos because I can kind of share the excitement with you guys unboxing these comics, which, you know, it's kind of like anyone who bought from Amazon or anything like that can kind of understand why unboxing things is really exciting and stuff. So yeah, super happy to have Amazing Spider-Man 431 in my collection, 9.8 white pages. That's definitely one I've wanted, have a big nostalgic connection to from when I was young. And I mean, as an investment book, you know, I'm not too sure if I would recommend it, you know, as a pure investment book. Certainly if you love Carnage and you sort of grew up around this time and remember this cover from when you were a kid, then I think it's a kind of good under the radar buy, especially being in between the Venom movies. If you're a bit of more of a short-term guy, you can think about maybe buying some now and selling them during the Venom movie for a little bit more. But, you know, on the census, doesn't look the best, with almost half of them being 9.8s and 158 of them in the 9.8s. That's not too bad either. It's not getting like insanely crazy, which is good. I mean, you know, for example, like the Teen Titans 12, the first Batman Who Laughs, I believe there's over 400 9.8s, and that just came out 2 years ago. So this being a lot older than that, there's only 158. That's not too bad in that sense, but, you know, it's not really an iconic first appearance or anything, so that's pretty much the reason why there's not like 400 or 500 of them. Otherwise, I think there would be. But if you are a Carnage fan and you're kind of in those niche Carnage comics, yeah, Amazing Spider-Man 431 and Amazing Spider-Man 410, I think, are really cool, like mid-90s, late 90s Carnage comics that are a lot cheaper than first appearance of Carnage and still equally as cool. Okay, so yeah, thanks so much, guys. And again, over 100 subscribers, so that is amazing. Great feeling, and, you know, super happy with the response of the channel. If you haven't already, please join the team and subscribe to Team CGC. And hit that bell because we are doing quite a lot of videos right now. Yeah, 5 or 6 basically per week. And like I said, being in that prototype phase of the channel, I still have a lot of new video ideas I'm going to be doing that are different from, you know, just prodding out my 9.8s. But that'll take a little bit more time to just, you know, get kind of the editing of those type of videos down, and just to sort of refine some of the ideas, and again, in that prototype phase. But if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. That would help out so much. And thanks to everyone for subscribing, and again, we're over 100 subscribers, so that feels great. But yeah, I think that'll be all for this video. So glad I could unbox this in front of you, and yeah, I got a lot more video ideas, and you know, I got my collection out here to show you guys, and yeah, so many more video ideas that I can't wait to do. So it'll be you know, more content coming certainly. So make sure you do subscribe. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you on the next video.